Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Christmas Tide Goes Fireside with Simple Gifts. We're here to celebrate the holidays with you with the music of Simple Gifts and with different members of the group who have brought so much joy and a great message into our holiday season. We're excited that you decided to join us. This is our way of creating community and gathering with you is through our music. And we have a very, very special guest this episode. We will be featuring Heather Moen throughout this next episode. And let's dive right in right now to a track that features Heather right away from the beginning. This is a track called Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And we'll get with Heather here in just a second. Everybody, please welcome to our program today Heather Moen, who had a lot of camera time on that piece. Hi, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good and I'm so excited to watch. That's from our most recent footage of our holiday program. And So fantastic. To start with that piece, Heather, you really helped establish a lot of what people think of with who Simple Gifts is with the vocals and the three-part work that you have done with Karen and Amy now for years. We miss you. How's it going?
I miss you guys too. It's good. It's going really well. It's really busy over here in this Moen household. but but we're super happy. We've welcomed our new little Riggins to the family. So
So Heather, you have been a longtime member, and I used to call you my co-pilot. And
yeah.
maybe partly because you would laugh louder at my bad jokes than just about anybody. But, as we just saw on that piece on Hark the Herald, and what a neat version of it. And did it make you happy to listen to how tight those harmonies were?
Yes. I don't I the camera couldn't see my face, but while it was playing, I just had a big smile on my face. So it's fun to sit here and listen to those the songs again. I'm gonna miss singing them for sure.
Well, we're gonna make sure that neither of us cries about the fact that you've moved on to family life, which has happened before in this group, and other members who are on other episodes have made that wonderful decision. And hey, when it comes to Simple Gifts, family always comes first. And part of our family is our audience and sharing music that they might have heard Hark the Herald a hundred times, but I think you'd probably agree with me that that's a special little version of that piece. And working in another carol along with it, we always seem to have fun with these arrangements.
Yeah, I would agree. I think uh there's always something that comes up just pretty organically whenever we rehearsed, um and just made it so much fun. And it's just not traditional songs we're singing, but traditional songs with a twist. So it makes it a lot of fun.
Well, we'd love to keep sharing music. Today is about chatting in a very unscripted and fun manner, but we also want to make sure that we get enough music in here before your little one starts running around and
Yeah.
needing you. So, one of the pieces that you brought to the group, and I remember it was you, I'm pretty darn sure it was you, Heather, brought us a piece that has become like a favorite throughout the each year is difficult to leave certain songs out, and it's always tough not to include a piece called Labor of Love, which really features you in a setting where you a lot less of the three-part harmony thing, but you just getting to be yourself. And I guess I have a question. I ran past both Amy and Karen on one of the episodes, and I want to ask you the same thing. When you sing with Simple Gifts, is this the real Heather that we get to hear? In other words, are you comfortable within this group to not try to be like singing a jazz or an R&B thing? Is this kind of a natural setting for you to share your voice the way that you like to hear it?
Absolutely. I because to me, I mean, I love Christmas music, first of all, but to me, with how what I believe in my faith, it's worship to me. And so that is that is, probably 100% of the time what I'm doing while I'm singing. And this Labor of Love is definitely one of those songs where it does come out of something that's not just a voice, but something kind of deep within, if you would,
Right.
I could say
And
that.
right. And you've always been part of helping me and helping the rest of the group stay focused on a really core, positive, real message about Christmas. And this song shares that narrative. You've gotten to voice the voice of Mary in more than one occasion, I think, in this group. So, from that perspective, let's share Heather Moen on a piece called Labor of Love. On Labor of love.
It was not a silent night. There was blood on the ground, and you could hear a woman cry in the alleyway that night on the streets of Davidstown. And the stable was not clean, and the cobblestones were cold. Little Mary, full of grace, with the tears upon her face, she had no mother's hand to hold. It was a labor of love. It was a cold sky above. For the girl on the ground in the dark, every beat of her beautiful heart was a labor of love. And noble Joseph by her side, with calloused hands and weary eyes. There were no midwives to be found on the streets of Davidstown in the middle of the night. So he held her and he prayed. Shafts of moonlight on his face, but the baby in her womb, he was the maker of the moon. He was the author of the faith that could make the mountains move. It was a labor of love. It was a cold sky above. For the girl on the ground in the dark, every beat of her beautiful heart was a labor of love. Little Mary, full of grace, with the tears upon her face, was a labor of love. It was not a silent night on the streets of Davidstown.
If you're just joining us, everybody, this is a Christmas Tide Goes Fireside episode featuring Heather Moen. That was Heather on lead vocals. Heather, I don't know that I ever need to hear another version of that one again. It was so you're so dialed in on that piece, and um, I'm not sure, like I said, that I've ever heard this group sound as complete as that. And let's go back to the early days, though. If I think you remember, we were a smaller group when you first joined. Do you remember what the lineup was back then?
Oh man, the first year I was in it, it was only me and Karen on vocals, and
Right.
then Jenny Lynn and Billy O and you. Yeah.
Right. So the group's
Yep.
gotten bigger and it's gotten a fuller sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you certainly aren't always standing at the microphone with nothing in your hands, are you?
No. I
No,
have
everyone,
that behind me. Where is it? Am I there?
yeah,
There
over
we
on
go.
that side. You've got it. Hey everyone, if you're new to Simple Gifts and have never heard our music before, it's wonderful that you're joining us. And there are a lot of different sounds and colors that come into the group. And Heather's one of those, I call her a triple threat, because not only does she have this, beautiful voice that you just heard and that we've been so lucky to have, but she loves to do a few more other things too. One of them is to play the fiddle. And I think if it's okay with you, Heather, could we do something where we get to hear you play the fiddle on this next piece of music?
Sure, that would be great.
Okay, well, we'd like to share our version of an old Christmas carol called God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. And there's quite a lot of fun going on between you, Heather, on the fiddle, and the other players in the group, most notably Laura McKenzie on the whistle and the doubling and the harmonizing. And then, of course, watch out because there's some vocals coming at some point too. So let's watch and listen and enjoy the great work that Heather Moen has shared with Simple Gifts. This is God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. everyone. As I used to tease the audience and tease Heather in public, I would say, hey, for a great singer, you're a pretty darn good fiddle player. Too. But isn't that fun? I mean, for me, it's fun, Heather, to hear you and Laura Mack going back and forth in that piece. And you two definitely found a way of kind of sinking in your parts in the same way that you've done with the other vocalists in the group.
Yeah, it's Laura and I. We would always kind of smirk at each other and have a fun time playing that part, going back and forth. That was really fun, and it's always fun to hear Billy do the
Oh,
tapping.
well, it's a nice combination of sounds, isn't it? And again, if you don't know much about Simple Gifts, folks, and you're watching this, this is that last piece is a really good representation of the different, like the soundscape. And I think we were always looking to create number one arrangements that were interesting, and that's a pretty interesting arrangement with an all original section in the middle that the three of you sing in tight unison, by the way, which is not easy. um, Folks, those vocalists out there who just heard that, I'm sure could recognize the precision it takes to do those unisons and make them really, really just so together. And then when it splits into the harmony, and then you guys take it home on the main first verse on the way out, it's really a neat arrangement. But now, um, Heather, you we've the new folks that have never seen us before have already gotten to know you now as a vocalist and now as a violinist. But let's be really clear. What did you major in at college?
I was a piano performance major at St. Olaf College in Northfield, Minnesota. Yep.
So, wait a minute. Incredible vocalist, spot on violinist, but you were a piano major. How does this happen? What, you must have never watched Gilligan's Island or anything, or you must have just been playing music all the time, Heather. You did start playing music young, didn't you?
Yeah, well, funny story. The reason my first instrument that I started to play was violin, and the reason I started taking violin lessons was because my kindergarten teacher said I needed to. My parents needed to get me into something because I was bossing all the other kids around. Oh my gosh! So that's why I started violin lessons, and I don't know, some people stick with it, some people don't. It's a tough instrument. It's a good one to start young, but yeah, I just stuck with it and I just loved it. So not counting out all the crazy tantrums I had when I was younger, having to practice and stuff.
Okay, well, I'm going to share a quick one, which is that I met you or became aware of your music hearing you sing at a mutual friend's wedding and invited you to join the group when Karin decided to move on and focus on her family. And I'm not sure you remember this exactly, but our first rehearsal, I think it was, I called you before the rehearsal and made sure you knew where it was. And you mentioned, oh, I think I'll bring my violin along. And I was like, well, okay. But I didn't have any. So you showed up at Jenny's. I think we rehearsed out at Jenny's place. At the first rehearsal, when you got that violin out and started playing on the violin, I just was like, wow, that's a whole nother dimension to add to the group. So thank you for bringing that to us for all the years that you've been able to be with us. Um,
You're welcome. I don't actually remember that. But
I
that's
do.
fun.
I do because I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we just mentioned the piano, and there's a piece from our most recent footage that we shot that features you on the piano. And I think it's incredibly uh, lucky that the name of the piece actually relates to what's going on at your house right now. Because
True.
the name of the
Very
piece,
true.
the name of the piece, and we might lose you. Who knows when your little one Riggins is gonna wake up? But if this ends up being our last piece, it would I guess it would be appropriate in some way for us to listen to Heather Moen share with us her arrangement of a very popular carol called "Sleep, Holy Babe."
Sleep, holy babe, upon thy mother's breast. O Lord of earth and sea and sky, how sweet it is to see thee lie in such a place of rest, in such a place of rest. Sleep, holy babe, thine angels watch around, all bending low with folded wings before the incarnate deity, in reverence awe profound, in reverence awe profound. Sleep, holy babe, upon thy mother's breast. O Lord of earth and sea and sky, how sweet it is to see thee lie in such a place of rest, in such a place of rest, in such a place of rest, in such a place of rest.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Christmas Tide Goes Fireside. The big question for Heather right now. You've been listening to Heather Moen on Sleep Holy Babe. Heather, is the baby still asleep?
The baby is still asleep. I have my baby monitor right next to me and we're all good.
I love the technology going on over at Moen Central over
Yeah.
there. Great. Well, wonderful. Maybe we can keep you for just a couple more minutes. there were so many road trips, and for again, those of you that don't know a lot about Simple Gifts, it was not uncommon for Simple Gifts to be out performing 16 or 17 shows in 20 days between Thanksgiving and Christmas every year. And I'm still amazed how you did it, Heather, for as long as you did. And and one of the things I have to thank you about that last piano piece that reminds me is that after gigs, sometimes I'd watch you loading up that piano and getting it in its case, and it was bigger than you, but you'd haul it out like a champ, and hopefully someone would notice and give you a hand. But thank you for all the times that you had to manhandle the keyboard over the years. But you having the piano be part of the sound of the group, I think isn't that a nice contrast of everything that we've listened to? And for those of you that want to know more about Simple Gifts and look into the recordings that Heather was a huge part of, please visit us at simplegiftsmusic.net. That's a good way for you to get a chance to hear a lot more of her performances within the context of Simple Gifts. And I'm sure there's going to be more uh, recordings that she'll be doing at some point in the future of her own. And we're excited for everything that you've got going. Heather, is there maybe one funny story from the road from all of those crazy trips that we took that you'd want to maybe mention, or anyone in the group that you want to call out or say anything to from where you are right now?
Well, I honestly, of all the, man, I think it was 9 or 10 years I have done it. I kind of lost count.
11.
Having too many babies, evidently. My brain's gone. But I think my favorite, funniest moment was when Amy Quartz was about to sing Go Tell It on the Mountain, which is her highlight song, and she sings it so amazingly well. And Billy O is backstage, and he drops all of the coin change in his pocket on the floor. And it just, I don't know, you had to be there, but it was just, and we got a lot of good laughs out of that because it was a very quiet, sacred moment. And then just a bunch of coins just fell all over really loudly on the floor backstage.
Um,
So,
one thing that I'm proud of, and you were such a huge help in this, was keeping the moment real for our audiences live. I mean, we've enjoyed recording in the studio, but we really kind of have been a live band, and we we've spent so much time with our audience, and we're looking forward, obviously, in the future someday, all of us, and the different things that we've got in our futures, to be back together again, in that setting. um, but there definitely were a lot of miles, a lot of wintry nights that we spent on the tour bus together, usually eating some of my bad chicken soup that I would keep bringing.
oh no, that's not bad chicken soup.
Okay, no, Heather, before we go, what's your favorite recipe of mine?
Oh my goodness, you're Indian.
Yep, I knew you were gonna say that.
The Indian food.
I
It's
promised that I would come and teach you. So
Yeah, you still can.
I'm gonna make sure that I do. And cooking together and listening to music together is how we should spend the holidays. And I miss you, my co-pilot, my dear friend. I'm so excited for everything that's going on. Do you have one last piece of music that you are thinking you'd love us to cue up from the show?
Um,
Something you'd like to share?
well, my favorite one that has, I think because we've sung it so many times and loved singing it, that has gotten so tight and so just so much fun to sing, would probably be Oh Mary, which
Well,
is one of our vocal favorites.
Let's end the program that way. We're going to cut to music, but Heather, I love you. I miss you. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to all of you who chose to tune in to this episode of Christmas Tide Goes Fireside. Please check in with us for future events at simplegiftsmusic.net and know that we are out there available on the different social media outlets. And our music is also available at all the digital streaming platforms. So thank you. My name is Billy McLaughlin. We've just enjoyed so much time, and you get to hear one more track featuring Heather Moen. Thanks so much, Heather.
Thank you. Love you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, Mary, can you hear your baby crying? Oh, Mary, can you hear that boy? Oh, Mary, can you hear your baby crying? Do you know the voice you're hearing is the Lord? Oh, Joseph, can you see the wise man coming? Oh, Joseph, come to see that boy. Oh, Joseph, can you see the wise man coming? Do you know the one they come for is the Lord? Oh, Mary, can you hear the angels singing? Oh, Mary, singing for that boy. Oh, Mary, can you hear the angels singing? Do you know the one they sing for is the Lord? Mary and Joseph, can you feel the world is changing? Mary and Joseph, changing